Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Martial Master based on novel. So let's start. It is said that when the universe was opened, a batch of the oldest continents were opened up with the opening of the universe, including the highest heaven. But in addition to the heavens, there are also some other continents that were born together. This batch of continents, with the chaos and majestic aura opened up by the heavens and the earth, is the source continent among countless continents. These source continents are not necessarily very high level. Some continents have been transformed into ordinary planes for special reasons. Countless billions of years past, these ordinary planes merged into the countless planes that were born later, and disappeared, but no matter what, these planes were the source continents when the universe was opened up and possessed an extraordinary status. Tianwu continent is very likely to be such a continent. Qin Chen took a breath of air. Does the Tianwu continent have such an awesome origin? It's not impossible. Only the source continent can attract the source of time. Otherwise, how can rules like the source of time appear in such a lower realm? Do you think the source of time is Chinese cabbage, and every plane has one? The ****** cat looked at Qin Chen with red eyes. If the Emperor's guess is correct, this Tianwu continent is really the source continent that was born when the universe was opened, then you will make a lot of money, and your future will be unlimited. After all, not everyone can get the source continent. If you have the recognition of the source continent, it is possible to possess the cosmic aura of the opening of the universe and become the supreme existence in the heavens. Okay, this young master is not even a holy realm now, there is still a supreme existence. Let's go out of here alive and talk about it. Qin Chen said with disdain. It's not his reality, but Qin Chen knows clearly that any strong person has come out of the weak, and many of the pride of the sky have unique resources, but in the end they are not all people. Want to become a strong person does not rely on the recognition of the world or the gimmicks of the sons of any plane, but personal diligence and hard work. The real strong are all made by hard work. If you are immersed in these so-called gimmicks, lost from me, that's sad. The ***** cat looked at Qin Chen in surprise, but didn't expect Qin Chen to look so open. Qin Chen disagrees. Of course he knows what source continent and what planes are the sons of great horns, which makes him feel very happy, but the warrior is against the sky and must not forget his original intention and step by step to get out of this path. If the origin of time is here, where was the origin of Wu continent that day? Qin Chen asked. The most important thing for him now is to find the origin of Tianwu continent, use the origin to break through to the holy realm, and then go out and explode the three silly forks of the heavens. Don't worry, since this golden rune guides you, the answer is naturally in it, and as long as you get the origin of time, you can naturally find the origin of heaven and earth, because since the origin of time appears here, there will never be none. The reason of the ***** cat said so, simply shirking responsibility. Qin Chen looked at the golden rune. Boom! The golden runes shined brightly, and the golden rainbows rushed straight into the sky, illuminating this barren mystery. The runes released a more brilliant light, and the supreme breath immediately enveloped the entire ancient battlefield, enough to easily kill the outside world. Ren, his heavenly master. However, this breath was controlled in this ancient battlefield, otherwise, if the breath moved out, it might scare Ling Luling and the others away, and waited for Dong Yuan's arrival. Boom! The broken blade emitted a faint black light, and also exploded with a terrifying breath, and launched an impact towards the golden rune. Both of them were at the level of holy masters in the past. Now their masters must have been transformed, and they have only a tiny amount of power left, but even the remaining scales and half of the claws are extremely terrifying. If it were not for the golden rune paper guard, Qin Chen is sure, has long been turned into powder. However, Qin Chen also has an invincible small world. As long as he enters the universe jade plate, he believes that it should be no problem to avoid the Saint Master treasure with the remaining instinctive aura. Boom! The golden rune paper and the broken blade madly collide, the golden waves and the black tide violently collide, the golden rune paper is madly wiping out the breath of the black broken blade. No, it is not appropriate to use it, the strength of the two is similar, no one can't suppress who. So they are cancelling each other out. The runes on the golden rune paper were getting dimmer, and the black aura from the black broken blade was getting dimmer. Finally, when it reached a certain critical point, boom, the golden talisman burned, and instantly turned into ashes, no longer exists between the heavens and the earth, and the black broken blade also clicked, shattered, quickly decayed, and turned into dust. Into the virtual. In the air. The two sky-reaching wills have annihilated each other. What Qin Chen felt was not a kind of sadness, but a kind of belonging. The golden rune paper did not have any sorrow before turning to ashes, and some were just liberation, and the black broken blade did the same. Perhaps these two Saint Master-level treasure soldiers should have died hundreds of millions of years ago. It was a will that kept them to this day, and now they are finally free. Boom. The terrible breath rushed away and disappeared. Fortunately, there was still a light on Qin Chen's body, which was blessed by the golden talisman paper on his body before disappearing, and continued to protect him from the aura of the black broken blade. At this moment, Qin Chen sensed a different breath. Qin Chen immediately urged his soul power and tried to reach the origin of time. A breath of direct access to the avenue rushed into Qin Chen's soul in an instant. At this moment, Qin Chen's body exuded the aura of the avenue, almost turning the road into the world. The origin of time is too strong, and it even represents the power of heaven. If you are exposed to weak willpower, you will even be instantly assimilated by the power in it, becoming a part of the world and the rules of time. Fortunately, Qin Chen reacted, and then he didn't directly transform the Tao. He urged his soul power to try to integrate with the origin of time. An aura of decay and vicissitudes lingered. Qin Chen was filled with the aura of time, and the power of time circulated around him, as if he had become a messenger of time. Sure enough. The ****** cat was extremely surprised. The origin of time was too strong. Even if the Holy Realm Master of the Heavens rushed in contact, he would fall into the rules of time and die instantly, but Qin Chen didn't do that, and started instead. When I realized the rule of time, this shows that Qin Chen is indeed the son of the plane recognized by this world. Only in this way will the origin of time give Qin Chen a chance to try. Of course, this does not mean that Qin Chen must be able to absorb the origin of time. Once he cannot understand the rules of time and fails the assessment of time origin, he will also be wiped out under the power of time. No one can save him, even the ***** cat himself. Also one. Kind. Kid Qin Chen, you must succeed. If you succeed, then. The ***** cat was very excited, looking at Qin Chen expectantly. In the jade disc of good fortune in the universe, Lao Yuan and Yu Qianxue also looked at Qin Chen nervously and kept asking the ***** cat. They were also the first time they saw the origin of time. They were shocked and hoped that Qin Chen could absorb it. The origin of time. But what made everyone anxious was that although Qin Chen had time rules haunting him, the origin of time did not intend to blend into Qin Chen's body. Moreover, at this time, Yuan instead revealed a feeling of dying, and seemed to have been severely traumatized. This source of time seems to be damaged. Lao Yuan frowned. It is indeed damaged. The ***** cat nodded. What? Yu Qianxue and the others looked over anxiously. Don't worry, it's okay. The Heavenly Lord Broken Blade has been suppressing it, even if it is the origin of time, after such a long period of suppression, it will become extremely weak. This is because the origin of time is strong. It is something else. Stuff, don't know. How long ago it was gone. Essence is different from others. Even if it is damaged, as long as it is slowly nourished, it will recover sooner or later, especially the time origin. As long as there is enough time, it can be repaired by itself. The ***** cat is not surprising. It only cares about whether Qin Chen can absorb the origin of time. At this moment, Qin Chen is fully comprehending the rules of time and trying to get in touch with the source of time. As long as he can get the approval of the source of time, he can understand the rules of time and find the source of heaven and earth. However, no matter how Qin Chen came into contact with time origin seemed to be indifferent to him. Although Qin Chen was the son of the plane and was not obliterated by the time origin, the time origin also had no plans to submit to Qin Chen. Qin Chen tried all kinds of ways to urge the immortal Eucharist, the nine-star god emperor art, and various exercises to operate, trying to attract the attention of the origin of time, but the origin of time was still lazy, although when Qin Chen urged the exercises moved a little, but only. It was a slight move, did not really accept Qin Chen, even if Qin Chen urged the heavenly soul-forbidden art to be useless. This is how to do. Qin Chen had a headache, and the origin of time was different from other things and could be forcibly seized. Just like the sky fire, if you don't agree, Qin Chen directly suppresses and subdues the opponent, but the time origin is not good. It is too strong. It is a pure origin. Even the Holy Master weapon can't kill it for countless years. It is just weak. Some nothing more. Qin Chen wanted to forcibly conquer it, unless his cultivation base broke through to the Saint Master level. Otherwise, as long as the source of time is unwilling to release the power of time, Qin Chen can easily be turned into powder. Of course, in addition to actively letting the origin of time surrender, there is another way to conquer the origin of time, and that is to perceive the rules of time. As long as Qin Chen truly masters the rules of time, he can also be recognized by the origin of time. But it's too difficult to master the rules of time. Even in such an environment full of the power of time, it would take at least 100 years for Qin Chen to realize the momentary rules of completion. 100 years later, daylily it's cold. Just when Qin Chen was about to continue to touch the source of time and influence it a little bit, Qin Chen's mind suddenly brightened, and the ancient book that had been hidden suddenly appeared. Wow! The ancient book bloomed with light, and the 4 fonts on it suddenly glowed, exuding an amazing breath. At that time, Yuanyuan was originally lazy, but suddenly became excited and rejoiced, as if he had met an old friend, who saw a light flying out of the ground, and then shot towards Qin Chen. Qin Chen looked at it carefully. It was something that could not be described in words, like a light, and like a mass of nothingness, intangible and intangible, but it seemed to contain the breath of time from the past to the present, as if in the present, and seems in the future, again. As if in the past. What happened? Kid Qin Chen, why did he suddenly succeed? Lao Yuan gasped. The ***** cat was also shocked and waited for his eyes. Time is the greatest power. If the source of time itself is not happy, the Holy Lord cannot collect it, it can only be wiped out. And while they were talking, the origin of time was already flying out, and the sky spirit cover from Qin Chen disappeared in a flash, entering his soul sea. Qin Chen felt a shock all over his body, and an indescribable force spread in his body. He saw the primitiveness of the ancient times, and also saw the martial arts boom in the ancient times. Time has changed, but the only constant is time itself. He has an indescribable understanding, and only feels that as long as he can overcome this barrier, he will gain the Tao. Suddenly, the ancient book shook and immediately made Qin Chen sober, and heard the ***** cat's exclamation in his ears. Little Qin Chen, if you want to continue, you have to melt away. Qin Chen looked at it. His body, skin, and fleshy head are all transformed into symbols, as if to be regularized. He couldn't help but grin. The feeling just now was actually a test of the origin of time. If he fails to pass, he will be with the world. The rules are assimilated and become part of the time rules. Qin Chen could not help secretly calling luck. If there is no ancient book, he would not be able to collect the origin of this heaven and earth. It has gone through ancient times and ancient times. It is very likely that the heaven and earth existed when the heaven and earth first opened. It has not been annihilated one of generation. And if it weren't for the timely reminder from the ancient book, he might be transformed into Tao and die from then on. So close. At this moment, the origin of time surrounds the ancient books, and the ancient books are shining brightly, blending into the origin of time one by one. Qin Chen can clearly feel that the damage to the origin of time is slowly recovering. The ancient book is too strong, even the root of time can be restored. Then, the ancient book slowly dimmed, and the time rules were crisscrossing Qin Chen's body, and time runes flickered in Qin Chen's body. In the end, after the ancient book disappeared, The origin of time sank into Qin Chen's soul sea, slowly repairing. Time origin regards Qin Chen's body as the host. Qin Chen cannot fully control this time origin, but the existence of time origin itself will bring great benefits to Qin Chen. Under the nourishment of time origin, Qin Chen will be able to can easily control the rules of time and even turn yourself into a body of time and space. The body of time and space, the supreme physique in the legend, cannot invade all laws. After Qin Chen conquered the origin of time, the power of years that had originally existed between heaven and earth disappeared, and the power of years and years slowly dissipated between heaven and earth. Not only the power of time in this ancient battlefield, but even the power of years in the entire Forbidden Land is slowly dissipating. At the gate of the ancient battlefield, the vortex of years that originally exuded a terrible breath began to slowly weaken. What happened? Do you feel that the power of time in this vortex of years is slowly weakening? Ling Luling and others suddenly stood up, their eyes revealed. Could it be that that kid has found the origin of time? Or maybe something has changed, otherwise, how could this happen? Damn, isn't the origin of time taken away by that kid, right? Impossible. Time origin is one of the strongest origins between heaven and earth. With that kid, how can he get the origin of time? The faces of several people were frightened. Although they did not believe that Qin Chen could take away the origin of time, everything in front of them clearly indicated that something must have happened inside. For a time, several people were anxious. Finally, the vortex of years in front completely dissipated. Ling Luling glanced at each other, swish, and all drove the speed to the extreme, rushing into the forbidden area deep in the vortex of years, frantically searching for Qin Chen. In the depths of the ancient battlefield, Qin Chen is still in the perception of the origin of time, and the rules of time linger around him, and Qin Chen is trying to control these rules of time. The black shadow flashed, and the ****** cat suddenly appeared in front of Qin Chen's eyes, with excitement on his face. Have you conquered the origin of time? It said with emotion. The origin of time is the most miraculous origin between the heavens and the earth. It is not a simple matter to win it. It can be in the present, in the past, and in the future. Even the Holy Lord will not be able to reverse the chaos. I can't help it, I didn't expect it to be subdued by you. The ****** cat looked at Qin Chen with twinkling eyes. Probably besides the son of the plane, Qin Chen had a secret in his body, and this secret was even more terrifying than he was the son of the plane. This is what the ****** cat has secretly summed up after following Qin Chen for so long. However, some truths do not need to be explored. Sometimes when it is time to be confused, it is better to be confused. Qin Chen kept trying to urge the time rules, but only a series of vague time rules flowed between his palms, and he couldn't control it freely. Big Black Cat, this time rule is too difficult to control, right? Qin Chen frowned. He got anything from the origin of time, but he still couldn't push the time rule like an arm. What's the use? Nonsense. The ***** cat is more speechless than Qin Chen. The time rule is the top rule. If you absorb the source of time and you can fully control the time rule, it is too simple. But the most important thing for you now is not to control the time rule because this is not something you will be able to do in a short while. What you have to do now is to find the origin of the heaven and earth of the Qianwu continent, and use this to break through the Holy Realm. Only then did Qin Chen wake up. Indeed, it is important to find the origin of the heaven and earth first. How to find? Qin Chen asked. You feel it with your heart. Now that the origin of time is in your body, your perception of the origin of heaven and earth will definitely increase as never before. Since the origin of time is here, then the origin of heaven and earth should be nearby. Some clues. So simple. Qin Chen lowered his heart and carefully sensed the origin of time. As expected, vaguely, he felt that in the depths of this ancient battlefield, a certain breath was attracting him, and this breath made him very comfortable. I really found it. Qin Chen opened his eyes, revealing surprise. But at this moment. Haha, brat, we finally found you. What did you find? Whoosh whoosh. 3 terrifying auras rushed quickly, and it was Ling Luling, Xiu Changze, and Liu Fengyu. Why are the three of them here? Qin Chen couldn't help changing his color. That means you must have absorbed the origin of time, which caused the vortex of years at the entrance of the ancient battlefield to disappear, and they naturally rushed in. The ****** cat said. But this is too fast. Qin Chen couldn't believe it. How long had he absorbed the origin of time, and it took him a lot of time from the entrance of the ancient battlefield to the present. Hurry. You have realized that 2 hours have passed. Where is it soon? The ***** cat asked back. Bye. Qin Chen was taken aback. He clearly remembered that he had only sensed it for a while, and it had been 2 hours. The origin of this time was too abnormal, and it actually affected the flow of time he perceives. Nonsense. Do you perceive the origin of heaven and earth? Found it. That's good. The ***** cat said solemnly. Leave them away, don't fall in love with them, it's important to break through first. Whoosh whoosh. But at this moment, Ling Luling and the three of them came to Qin Chen like 3 streamers, and quickly surrounded Qin Chen. Smelly boy, let's see where you are running this time. Xiu Chengzi said in a gloomy tone. Run, why should I run? Qin Chen grinned. He has swallowed the origin of time now, and has also controlled the sky-splitting divine mark. Although he still failed to break through the holy realm, Qin Chen also wanted to know if his strength had improved, so he directly activated the time breath in his body. What? The 3 Ling Luling were shocked by Qin Chen's arrogance, and there was an indescribable light flashing on his body, if it could suppress the heavens. There is even a mighty heavenly power being released. The 3 people were shocked, why they would have an urge to kneel down in front of Qin Chen. That kind of strong powerlessness was even stronger than they were in front of Lord Su Quan. Lord Su Quan is a master of the heavenly saint realm. The 3 of them yelled, and forcibly drove away the fear in their hearts, and saw Qin Chen lingering in the power of time. The power of time, have you refined the time and the root of time? The 3 of them looked at Qin Chen in anger, with greed, wanting to obtain everything in Qin Chen's body, as their own, to help them take off. Haha, guess what? Qin Chen smiled. Dead. The 3 roared, and they all came over. Qin Chen did not evade and smiled at the 3 of them, showing a row of white teeth. Bye. The 3 of them were so angry that Shengwei exploded, trembling in the void, and erupting infinite power. Kill, 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 kill. 3 streams of light came from 3 directions, killing Qin Chen. Puff. 3 streams of light fell, but Ling Luling and the others showed extremely shocked expressions. Qin Chen flashed strange rays of light, and a force of rules lingered out. The attack of the 3 people suddenly seemed to become slow. Qin Chen dodged easily and rushed out of the attack range. The child fell through. What? The 3 of them were shocked, and at this moment Qin Chen's figure shook, and suddenly came to Liu Fengyu's face and slapped him. Qin Chen's slap seemed slow, but it was so fast that it was surprisingly fast. Before Liu Fengyu could react, Qin Chen's slap had already come to him. Liu Fengyu knew that Qin Chen had killed Chen Yuanliang before, so how could he not be prepared? A rune suddenly lit up on his body, his speed skyrocketed for an instant, and he retreated back. Boom! Qin Chen's palm blasted against the Saint Yuan shield on the edge of his body, and suddenly made an astonishing roar, and Liu Fengyu was immediately shaken out several tens of meters to stabilize his figure. His face was ashamed and red, and although he avoided the palm, his face was extremely ugly. The opponent almost hit him. If he hadn't reacted in time, I'm afraid this blow would have been shot. Time rules. The 3 Ling Luling were shocked. They could feel that Qin Chen's speed did not change when he shot, but the time flow around him had changed. Because of this, they could easily dodge their attacks, even barely hitting them. You got the origin of time? The 3 were frightened and angry. They came from the heavens and had very high vision. Naturally, they could see that Qin Chen was not familiar with the rules of time. Yungue masters the time rules, then the control of the time rules should. Quite familiar. But when Qin Chen made his move, the time rules were clearly beyond his control. There was only one possibility. Qin Chen had a treasure that could release the time rules. What else can it be if it is not the origin of time? This must be what Qin Chen got in this ancient battlefield. It must be. The three of them were jealous, and they were shocked at the same time. Qin Chen, a kid from the lower realm, didn't even break through the holy realm, but he conquered the origin of time. How did he do it? Kill him and take away the source of time, otherwise we will not be able to deal with the adults when Dong Yuan arrives. Ling Luling said sharply. Qin Chen's light eyes suddenly wrinkled. Master Dong Yuan, is there still a strong man in the heavens who is coming? His heart sank. How strong would he be, a master who could be called an adult by the three Ling Luling? Hey, brat, now I know that I'm afraid. If you surrender obediently, I might look at your good talents and give you a chance to take refuge in us, otherwise, I will not blame us for being cruel. Some treasures, not you a little. The people of the lower realm can get it. Ling Luling sneered, his eyes flashing coldly. It is naturally impossible to let Qin Chen go, but you can find an excuse to disarm the opponent first. Do you think I'm an idiot? Qin Chen said lightly, isn't it just jealous of my treasure to follow me like this? It's a pity that I don't have your share. As for the so-called adult, kill as if it comes. Qin Chen's voice fell, his figure shook, swish, and he rushed to the distance. A sense of crisis emerged in his heart. He didn't want to continue wasting time with Ling Luling. First find the origin of heaven and earth and break through the holy realm. Otherwise, although he can rely on the rules of time to gain the upper hand, the three of Ling Luling will have the upper hand. With the registered treasure, it is very difficult to kill three people at the same time, and it is almost impossible to complete. Therefore, he turned around and left. Don't let him run. Ling Luling snorted coldly, and the three of them chased after him like lightning and launched an attack frantically. Suddenly, a series of attacks came. Qin Chen now only controls the relatively weak time rules, under the attack of the three people, using the time rules to quickly pull the distance. Don't let him run away. Ling Luling was anxious, urging the ancient talisman on her body, and suddenly, a terrible aura lingered out, swish, her speed soared, and she came to Qin Chen in an instant. The three of them can perform secret techniques one after another, as long as they don't give Qin Chen a chance to escape. Qin Chen snorted coldly, his eyes sank, and seizing the opportunity, he shot out with a crack in the sky. Suddenly, strange Dao Patterns aura filled the void. Dao Patterns aura skyrocketed, traversing the heavens and the earth, as if the heavens and the earth opened up, emerging in the void, forming long ravines. What magical power is this? Ling Luling was shocked, and with a bang, she was blown out, and the terrifying power crazily eroded her body. The rune breath on her body quickly flickered, and a terrifying magical power struck. Ling Luling opened her mouth and spouted a mouthful of blood. Her robes were almost split apart, her expression looked wilted. Ling Luling, how are you doing? Is it all right? Two streamers swept over, and Xiao Changze and Liu Fengyu instantly appeared beside Ling Luling. Their expressions were extremely ugly. Ling Luling was actually injured. It's a great supernatural power. That kid has great supernatural powers. Ling Luling said with an ugly expression, raising his head. Qin Chen had disappeared from their sight and disappeared. Supernatural powers. Xiao Changze and Liu Fengyu both showed shocked faces. They can be called great magical powers, which are also extremely terrifying methods in the heavens. They actually saw the great magical powers on a small person in the lower world. Got here. How many treasures? In this ancient battlefield, there must be a lot of treasures, and that kid must not be allowed to escape. Ling Luling stood up, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, his eyes became extremely fierce. The three of them immediately followed the breath and followed. After avoiding the three of them, Qin Chen flew all the way, and in the process of flying, he constantly removed the traces behind him. However, he also knew that it was difficult to remove all the traces in such a rush, but it was better to remove some than not, at least so that the three heavenly masters could not find themselves in a short time. Qin Chen quickly swept to the depths of the ancient battlefield following the previous induction. Finally, after flying by for a while, a vast Tianhe appeared in front of him, and a sense of intimacy that contained the aura of heaven and earth quickly spread into Qin Chen's mind. It is the origin of heaven and earth. This video will end here.